All right, welcome back to the Run.down post-game show here on the Strickland YouTube channel, Strickland Twitter. And if you're listening to this the day after Strickland Podcast Network, Merry Christmas, Merry Knicksmas, Merry McCalmas. If you are celebrating, of course, we're all here in the holiday spirit, especially after the Knicks give us a nice little Christmas classic. Probably one of the best Christmas games. I know everyone's really nostalgic about that 2016 what was it? No, 2017 Cavs versus Cavs versus Warriors
Yeah.
Christmas Day game. But for me personally, this clears that because I have personal connection to this.
It's not the Kemba Walker game for you. The triple.
No, it's not the week of Kemba Walker game for me. But before we get into all of today's goodness, BetOnline continues to be the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting. From the earliest odds to in-game live betting, BetOnline provides you with all the action and the ability to watch the games as they happen. With the largest selection of odds on everything from football, the NBA, college basketball, NHL, and UFC, head to BetOnline today and don't forget to use promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV, for your welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, the game starts here. How poetic was it for Mikal to give us a 40 ball on Christmas, capitalizing on what has been a great month for him. He's been averaging about like 21 points per game, shooting 67% like true shooting on the month. He's been like a plus 150, probably goes up today. He's been great defensively. He's been awesome on both sides of the ball. And he capitalizes on he like kind of puts a stamp on this month with a great Christmas Day performance, giving us the first Knicks 40-point games since like 1984, I believe it was. So yeah, I mean,
Melo didn't have 40.
No. And he did it with a bunch of mid-rangers at the end of the game, which, you know, NBA fans so desperately have missed in today's game.
You know, that I was thinking when I was watching that, I was like, this is what the league needs to get the ratings back up here. Just a game of that.
And I saw like a bunch of people on my timeline just like championing that shit. They were like,
this is real fucking hoops, man.
Yeah, they were like, this is real basketball is back, baby. They were like, Spurs Knicks instant classic. Mikal just hitting mid-ranges to end the game.
They must have been so mad when they saw Chris Paul taking threes. They're like, what is this? You were the chosen one. This you're supposed to be defending the lost the dying arts here. Yeah, Mikal was awesome tonight. Right from the start, like literally right from the start, he was awesome. He got up to a 7-0 run. It wasn't just the offense too. It's like you can see it on defense. He had a couple really good possessions early, and just throughout the game, I thought his defense was good. And I felt this way for a while. I mean, I don't think I've done a post game since the fucking Dallas game where they got smoked. I remember coming on here after that, and I was like, yeah, I think the defense was actually good. Like I was not upset about after that game. I thought their defense was fine. I thought Mikal Bridges' defense was fine. And I think for the most part, I'm not saying it's been perfect. He had the Pelicans game right, or the Hornets game right after that, which was awful, obviously. It hasn't been perfect. It hasn't been, just no questions asked. But now you're starting to see the guy that I think this is who they traded for. This is the guy that they wanted. This is what they envisioned. And even now, and like, Jalen's had a couple weird games here. I know he had an amazing game against the Pelicans, which basically won us the game. He won us that game, to be honest. But he kind of had a little up and down moments here. But I think that's, if you kind of notice it, it's like happening as Mikal Bridges is starting to get more incorporated into the offense, and they're trying to make him more of a fulcrum. So I think those things are, I think they're all connected. I think they're still not everybody totally in rhythm together. There's still adjustment stuff going on, but the more guys that you can get involved, the more guys you're seeing positive moments from, the better. And look, Mikal was obviously awesome today, and he should get all the accolades. He was the star of this game for the Knicks. No questions asked about it. Obviously, Wembanyama, keep that fucking mutant away from us in the Western Conference. Stay out there for as long as you want, buddy. But I do want to say I thought Tibbs, he made a great adjustment in the fourth quarter. He put OG on Wembanyama. I actually had tweeted out that I think that he should put OG on CP3, because what they were doing is they were screening. They were attacking. They had Brunson on CP3 and they had Cat obviously on Wemby, and so they were running pick and rolls. So they were doing cross screens, and then Brunson would get cross matched, or then Cat would have to show, and then he'd have to make a long recovery. So it was a big problem, and they were really driving it home through the second half. So I was thinking, hey, put OG on. He just went full fucking like, I don't give a shit. He's like, he had, he just took Cat out, put Precious in, and then he had OG on Wemby. And I thought that was a great adjustment. It won them the game. Wemby didn't score after that. He didn't score a single bucket after that point. And
OG had some really good contest, like high contest on those threes that just
really, really good contest. You could just see Wembanyama was not comfortable. Like he couldn't, like I think Cat does as much as you can ask him to do defensively. Like if you just set your expectations for like, give me the best effort you can give me, I think Cat in general gives you the best effort he can give you. He's just never going to be like a high quality defender.
Mm-hmm.
And there's stuff where like, Wembanyama keeps the ball, maybe he hangs it out a little bit. He could do that against Cat because Cat doesn't have kind of like the active hands and he's not going to make you feel uncomfortable. Once OG was on him, you could see it like when he was even in the post, like he couldn't just square up like easily. He couldn't get to where he wanted easily. He was just not as comfortable. And that won them the game. So I think Tibbs deserves a ton of credit for that because if he didn't do it, I'm sure I would have been like, what the fuck? I think that's something they should have tried. And I think there would have been people that, every time we lose that Tom Thibodeau needs to be fired nowadays. So, guys, leave that in 2021, 22. All right. Leave that shit in the past. But like, yeah, I thought he coached a great game. And then also I want to say, I thought Precious was fucking great today. I thought he was great. I thought his rebounding was consistently active. He got multiple contested boards on both sides of the ball.
And he had some good contests. He had some solid blocks down the stretch.
And he had a huge fucking layup around Wemby in the fourth quarter. So, and he hit a three randomly. And then my last thing was like, I don't know what his deal is, but Jeremy Sohan can go fuck himself.
18% 3-point shooters. That's hit like 3 threes on us tonight. Like, what the hell?
3 threes, and then he just pushed Brunson into the fucking bench at the end. No call. I was like, I don't know. I don't want to do the whole officiating thing. I just do not understand the whistle the Knicks get pretty consistently. Like, I just don't get it. I don't know. It is what it is. That's the whistle they're going to get this year. We're 30 games in. We can sit here and bitch about it, but like, that's the whistle they're going to get. So they did have to adjust, and they just have to accept that and move on. But yeah, look, that was a great win against a team. And look, the Knicks didn't shoot well in this game. They shot 13 of 39 from the field, from three. The Spurs shot whatever they shot, 15 of 41. They were like 42, 43% from three. The Knicks were 33% from three. So to win that game, and obviously
down to the mid range.
Yeah, and you didn't get a bunch of fucking. You weren't at the line. Like, you weren't living at the line. Your superstars, Cat and Brunson, did not have their best performances. And honestly, I thought even like Hart took a little while to get going. I mean, down the stretch, he was fucking crazy. He basically won us the game with that last possession.
Yeah.
But like, it took him a little while, I think, to get going. But yeah, Mikal Bridges, Precious Achiuwa, really awesome games. And then Tom Thibodeau, huge adjustment. And overall, just a good win. And that's a good win against a team that's been pesky all year. They've got wins, I think, against Houston. They've beaten a bunch of teams, like good teams. So that's not a bullshit win. And it's, Christmas Day, you're getting an amped up performance from anybody you're going to play. Basically, we know Wembanyama was basically talking about this, like, this is the biggest game of his fucking life. And ESPN certainly was treating it like that. So shout out
definitely, I mean, I will give them credit. They're at least trying to recognize, this is the future, and like, they're trying to push it. Because like there's all this talk about, the old guard is fading and whatnot in the NBA, and like ratings and all this, and I don't even get into that. I try to stay away.
I don't know why anybody cares about that.
I don't either, because none of us are TV executives and we don't benefit anything from any of this. I mean, for my viewing pleasure, I watch a lot of these games with headphones in and listening to music, so I don't even listen to what commentators are saying or what narratives they're trying to push. I just care if there's good basketball on and if they're going to cash my parlays.
Yeah.
So that's all I care about. I don't know all this talk about the ratings and whatnot. I mean, today's game will probably have done something for the ratings, because I saw like literally every person on my timeline talking about it. Like, I saw people talking about like even switching off the NFL game and watching this game instead because they heard of how good it was down the stretch. And it's like, it's a good thing for the NBA to have these type of games too. It's like,
nobody should be watching fucking Satan ball. Cheap Steelers on Christmas Day. All right, nobody needs to be watching the fucking devil and his child facing each other. Fuck that, Jesus. That's like the most unholy matchup the NFL could have concocted for Christmas Day. How do we piss off all the Christians that follow our league? What if we have Satan play?
But yeah, I mean, But yeah, it's good for the NBA to have these type of matchups, and like a lot of people say, this is like the unofficial start to the season, like when games actually like start to like pick up and stuff like that in the league. And it was just good to see like the Mikal, you know, he was much maligned, even from some of us, to start the year. Just
I would
on
say
his
from all
start,
of us.
yeah, from all of us, he was very much maligned.
No, but
Because
he deserved. I mean, he was playing again. It wasn't
he's
just
playing
like
below standard.
it wasn't just making or missing shots, right? That can come and go and
Defense
whatever.
wasn't
Like,
there.
yeah, the defense wasn't there, the physicality wasn't there, the effort wasn't there. He doesn't get that offensive rebound that he got right in the second half. That offensive rebound he gets a putback, completes an and one. He doesn't make that play in the first quarter, like whatever, 10 games this season. There's no shot he's making that play.
No.
He was just you can just, it's noticeable. Like it's what it is. And look, maybe some of this is getting comfortable, and also, we talked about it when on here before, but like when you get accustomed to playing a certain way, and I don't mean like the plays that are being called, but like when you get accustomed to like first option life, where it's like, yeah,
first
man,
option on a bad team.
Yeah, first option on a bad team, but also it's like, and like what happens when you're the first option? It's like, oh yeah, don't worry, we're gonna hide you. You're gonna guard like the fucking fourth best guy in the team, and trust me, you're not rotating anywhere. Like it's a very different thing. And then to go from that to being like, yeah, so you're gonna be our primary point of attack defender, and Cat is the 5. So please make that happen. It takes time. It's an adjustment. He also is obviously much less of a focus here offensively than he was in Brooklyn. So it's an adjustment, and it's taken time. But look, this is the guy that the front office wanted. This is who they traded for. The guy you're seeing now,
and great defense.
Yeah, and like even this the Pelicans game, the Raptors game, like he wasn't like amazing offensively, but I think everybody would have come away from those games being like, yeah, that was a good Mikal game, because
he did what he needed to when he was needed to.
Yeah, and because he's, like you talked about, like the effort, the defense, those are the things that he can control, and those are the things that you expected from him every night. You know what I mean? Like again,
that's like
shooting
the baseline.
Goes. Yeah,
that's like the baseline of what we expect at this point. So, I mean, to the 40 ball on top of it, I mean, what I love the most about this game was like Jalen Brunson. He like, you could see like he just knew he didn't have it like down in the Yes, he needed to get that Joe side juice off of him. Big pause there.
Quentin Grimes missed 3. Let's go, baby.
All-time Knicks hate bowl watching this game. Grimes versus Julius.
Versus Dante.
And Julius.
You got it all going here.
I don't hate Dante. I mean, I kind of feel bad for him. He looks pathetic at this point.
No, he's doing what he needs to. He understands the job here.
Get himself bought out.
How do I get back to New York? How do I lower my trade value enough that the Knicks can get me back?
But yeah, as I was saying, what I like about this game the most is like Jalen Brunson. He clearly didn't have it in the fourth, and he kind of knew it, and like he just let Mikal like cook, and like that is something that we didn't see, I believe, in like the first couple months of the season, just because like I think a lot of possessions like they gave it to Mikal and he just like didn't do anything. They were just like, all right, we're not going to go back to it. And I feel like now they've built like this level of trust where it's like, all right, Mikal's like absolutely cooking right now. And it's like, just let him have it. He's in control of this game. He'll close this out. And that's what happened. Like he hit those daggers down the stretch, and shout out to Hart, his Villanova teammate there, getting those offensive boards, kind of like a blast from the past of last year with Josh Hart just like crashing the glass to kill a team's will. Multiple times, by the way, with multiple efforts on that last possession.
What was his quote that he told Mitch? He gets rebounds that like Mitch gets rebounds that or whatever that you're supposed to get, and Hart gets rebounds that kill teams or something.
Yeah, and that was a throwback to that with Josh Hart on those last couple of possessions on that last possession there. So
and shout out Mikal on that last one too. He kept it alive too.
Yeah, he tipped it. Yeah. But yeah, great game to kick off this NBA Christmas Day slate that everyone was complaining about. Shout out to the fans that continue to complain about the Knicks being on the Christmas Day slate as if that's not a given every year. Just for the sake of complaining.
This is like, I still remember like NFL fans used to do this with
the Cowboys and the Lions.
Yeah, and I'm like, first of all, they were the only two teams initially that signed up to play on Thanksgiving Day. Like, I think it's fine. It's fine to have like some traditions. Also, when the Knicks have been completely awful they have not been playing on Christmas, right? Like when they've had years they didn't play because NBA was like, listen, you guys are really bad, actually. So
we can't sell Emmanuel Mudiay
on
the Christmas Day graphic.
We can't do this. I'm sorry. But like they're a good team now. They're I think they're 6th in net rating. They're 20-10. They're tied in their record, I think, with Dallas. Like they're
among the NBA's elite. Like they belong there.
They're one of the 10 best teams in the league. If you want to fucking bitch about some fucking ass team being on the schedule that doesn't deserve to be there, go bitch about Phoenix, man. Go bitch about the fucking Lakers. Go bitch about the Warriors.
Go bitch about the 76ers.
Yeah,
what the hell are they doing there?
Go bitch about any of these teams. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear about my Knickerbockers, man.
But yeah, let's get to some comments. We got some good comments in here. Shout out to everyone that's been in here. Make sure you guys leave a like. There are a lot of you here watching. And if you're on Twitter, you can also leave a comment. Join in on the conversation. Mikal Bridges in December. Jordan Bub, 22.7 points per game, 58% from the field. Elite shooting, elite efficiency. 2.5 rebounds, 3.5 assists, 1.2 steals, 47% from 3, 69 true shooting, and plus 158 leads the NBA. Absolutely great game. And like I said earlier, he was also the first Knick to score 40 points since Bernard King on 1984, and before that it was Richie Guerin in 1968. So Mikal Bridges in some elite and very small company here on Knicks Christmas.
Yeah, there's really not much else to be said. And look, it wasn't, the fact that the game was tight made it even more impressive, right? Because these shots he took had stakes. And look, you got to even think back. At one point, the Spurs go up 102-94. Mikal had just missed a 3 on the previous possession. Comes down, knocks down a 3. Again, I think the clock was pretty close to expiring through the shot clock. Hits a fading corner 3 again. Apparently, that's his favorite shot now. Then, and then I don't even remember all the shots he's making. He made an above the break 3, like a pretty good contest. He made God knows how many mid-range pull-ups. Like he was so good. He was really good today, and he was under control. He had 2 weird shots at the end of the first half that were bad misses, I thought. But like other than that, I had very little issue with his shot selection. I mean, I guess your shot selection can look really good if you just don't miss. Ask Jeremy Sohan. But yeah, he was great today. He was under control, and he's been, again, this is like continuing a trend that we've seen now for this month, where it's just been like he's stacking performances together, and that's what you want to see, not just like these one-off bullshit fucking random things.
And the Knicks are stacking wins, 5 straight now, 20-10. This is their best record in 30-game stretch to start a season since 2012-13.
10 of the last 12 too.
10 of the last 12. It's been a really impressive stretch altogether these last couple weeks. So you're starting to see that Knicks gelling that we've been talking about that we will start to see, and we're starting to see it now. And as they head into January, where it's a pretty soft stretch, I'll say, of games. I mean, the opponents, they of course play harder than their record states, but these are games that the Knicks should handle the way they've been playing. Like, especially if like there are some games, we know there are going to be some games in there where they're hitting on all cylinders, like we've seen in these past couple of games before this. So they just have to continue this.
Yeah, and one thing I think that is good that we have not. I don't know. It's kind of weird to say we haven't seen enough of this, because the reason why we haven't seen enough of it is because the Knicks have been blowing out a lot of fucking teams, but they have not played a lot of close games. They just has been the nature of their season. They haven't played many close games. So for them not to just win a close game, but a game they were down 102-94, they were almost down 105-97, looking at and a free throw 106-97 potentially. They were down 8 midway through the fourth quarter. Wembanyama's going nuts, and Jalen Brunson is off. Right,
Cat is off.
Cat's off. Like, these guys aren't having great games. Cat did have a really nice burst to start the second half. That needs to be said. He was really good to start the third quarter, but not his best game. And you're like searching, and for that to be the moment where Mikal Bridges kind of has his like, I'm a New York Knick moment. And then and not only do you kind of win a close game, but you're getting stops on the end of this close game. They got a lot of stops in this game.
Huge stops.
Big stops. So they were stacking, like they had to stack stops to win this game. and they did. And that's
stops on Wemby.
Yeah.
You had key misses from the role players that were actually hitting shots earlier in the game, like Champagny and stuff like that. It was just like
that guy, fuck him,
Champagny and Sohan.
Yeah, just fuck off. Like literally fuck off. I was like waiting for Keldon Johnson to have like a fucking 30-point game or something. But yeah, it's that like we haven't seen again. It's so weird to say this. We haven't seen enough of these close games, but they did have one today, and it was a game they had to make a comeback in. And they had to do it obviously without their best guns going. So that's
why you trade for Mikal.
Yeah, and not only like on top of all that, like I mentioned earlier, they didn't have a great shooting game. This was not like the Knicks just all the like Deuce McBride went crazy from three. That like Campaign went off. Campaign was terrible. Campaign didn't play a second in the second half because Tibbs saw enough of him in the first 3 minutes of the second quarter. He was like, "Buddy, I'm good. Like, Merry Christmas. You have a fucking you have a great day.
Go have some eggnog, buddy."
Yeah, maybe you had some before the game. I don't know. I know exactly what possession immediately got on his nerves because it got on my nerves too. It was that possession at the end of the first quarter where there's like 42 seconds left.
And he's going for like a 2-for-1 or something.
Like Cat's like inbound the ball. Campaign's like clapping at him and I'm like, dude, yeah, it's a 2-for-1, but you got plenty of fucking time here. Like relax. Yeah, he sprints up the floor. He's like demanding Deuce run the fucking dribble handoff with him. It was so obvious I was going to get called for an offensive foul. It did get called for an offensive foul.
And he comes up limping too.
Yeah, and then the Spurs ended up actually getting a 2-for-1 out of that. They didn't convert on the final piece of it. But like, I was like, once I saw that, and then he started the second quarter the way he did, I was like, he got pulled really early. I not that I care, but like, I was like, I've seen this. I was like, I've seen games like this before, where like young Emmanuel quickly would come in, have a terrible 3 minutes, and Tibbs is like, "Yep, today's just not your day, pal."
Have a nice night being a cheerleader.
Yeah, Alec Burks, you're playing the next 47 minutes.
Shout out to 21-22. Oh my god. But yeah, let's go. Chris Bernhardt says, "Thank the Lord the Spurs are done tanking. Imagine they were in the flag sweepstakes. Good God."
Well,
don't they have the Hawks like pick swap or something?
They have the Hawks pick this year.
They have the Hawks pick just straight up.
But fortunately, the Hawks are like
they're like
okay, they're fine. Yeah, they're fine. They're fine.
It'll still be like a reasonable pick, and this draft class is allegedly loaded. So
it's probably not gonna. I mean, with the state of the Eastern Conference, I don't think the Hawks pick's gonna be a lottery pick.
Yeah, it probably won't, just because the East is bad after like the Bucks.
Yeah, and especially since Orlando's. I know Orlando had that really nice win against Boston, but like
they're going to come crashing down very soon.
Dead right now.
You can't keep relying on
Trevelin Queen
to put up 18 points and beat contenders.
That Miami game was probably the funniest thing I've ever had.
Cole Anthony going for the game of his life.
That was like that game he had against us at the Garden that one year.
Yes, and thankfully it was not against us this time. I mean, he still has an opportunity to do it in a couple days, but
he will. Don't worry. It's the Christmas spirit.
But yeah, I forgot what I was about to say. Oh yeah, with the East, I mean, even with the Heat now, it's like the Hawks can end up moving past the Heat with whatever moves they make and stuff like that. Shout out to Jimmy Butler requesting a trade on Christmas.
Yeah.
John Leary says some of the Cat foul calls were soft, in my opinion. Plus, Wemby is unreal, but is quietly a flopper. I think that's what was pissing off a lot of Sixers fans in that last game, and that's why they felt like Joel Embiid was like vindicated in his reaction, is because like Wemby was like seriously like flopping big time in that game.
He flops. He's also like you could like he's filled out a lot more since like from when he.
But I think he's still using that his thin frame.
He's still
over exaggerate things.
Yeah, he's not like because you remember like when one day we all kind of were like, wait, Anthony Davis is fucking jacked now.
Yeah,
like Wemby hasn't had that moment yet, where we're like, wait.
So he can still get away with like flailing around.
You're fucking gigantic now. Like no, he's still kind of weak, looking like Tyrese out there a little bit.
So he can still get away with the flailing and stuff, and like it's not called fouls. But like Cat also just doesn't get a good whistle in general, anyways. So it's like
he's too demonstrative.
He really is.
That's a foul. All right, man. Jesus. How?
Oh my god. Oh man. Jordan Bob JLE the third says that Tom Thibodeau loved the hustle and extra plays tonight. We never hung our head. We needed everyone to find a way to win, and that's what it's about.
Yeah, I agree with that. I thought they competed the entire night, and it was one of those games too where you could just tell. It's like every time the Knicks were like, "Oh, we're up 3," and then it would be like, "What if the dumbest thing happens right now?" And it was like, "Oh, that's gonna happen." We're up 5 at the end of the fucking third quarter. I'm like, "All right, 10-0 run, let's go," and then we come out and it's like, what if Jalen Brunson poops his pants for the next 3 possessions? I was like, oh,
he pulled a Steph Curry on Christmas.
Yeah,
this is like a Steph Curry on Christmas type.
Oh yeah, he's terrible on Christmas, right?
Steph? He's awful. I'm taking his unders tonight, man. He is terrible.
That's what you get when you're against affordable housing. God's not going to let you celebrate on his day.
You don't get to go to God's birthday party, man. Our good friend Lucas says Wemby didn't score a point for the last 8 minutes of the game.
Yeah, man. I thought
that's when Thibs made that change.
Yeah.
Well, he kind of made 2 changes. Like he put Mikal on CP3.
Yeah.
In those pick and rolls, and then he also just OG just like straight up on Wemby, and those 2 adjustments really like stifled the Spurs like offense. They still were able to get things, but like it just wasn't as easy as it was for the points before that.
Well, it wasn't as easy, and it wasn't what they wanted. You were like, hey, like, I mean, the nature of anything, right, is like you're always going to give up something, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like if you're like, in football, if you're like, I'm not going to give up any long pass, like, no, we're just going to play fucking cover 2, and we're not giving up anything deep down the field. It's like, all right, yeah, well then you're probably going to give up stuff underneath. It's like, so they were still getting stuff, but it's stuff that you have to be okay with them getting, and stuff that they would prefer not to like be their offense, right? You're like, yeah, it's cool that Julian Champagny made a 3, but like we'd rather he didn't. Like that was not the shot. It's cool that Jeremy Sohan apparently is never going to miss 3 again. But we prefer, but we prefer if that was not the possession that outcome. But yeah, it was. Look, I think Tibbs' quote is great. I think he was absolutely right. They competed throughout this game, and it wasn't easy, and the Spurs were definitely on it, and Wembanyama is fucking amazing. And even with and your best guys didn't have it, but yeah, they fought. They had to fight throughout this game because it was a pretty close game throughout. It was like pretty much like a 5-6 point game either way for the most part. It didn't really get beyond that.
Yeah. Shout out. We got a super chat from HB Greg 499. Shout out to HB Greg. He says, Merry Knicks, Miss Spurs. I'm so happy we won this because Wemby would be called the Knicks killer his entire career if we lost. Hashtag support teachers. Let's go. And hashtag go Knicks.
Fuck teachers.
All right. All right.
No,
okay, look, Eric Adams.
Yeah. Hey, respect my mayor. Yeah, I'm not. I know this is probably. I mean, this would never happen. I would be very okay if it was just like this was like our game every year. It's like, yeah, you're just gonna play the Spurs at noon every year. I'd be like, all right, that's fine. I'll take that. Cool.
And after this year, I mean, after the last couple of Knicks Spurs performances, it's like, how can you complain?
We've had great games. Like the last 2 games against them have been fucking awesome.
It's like I don't understand the complaints. I know NBA fans just love to complain about everything. Par for the course. But like I don't know how you can complain about like if this is the matchup every year. Okay, all right. Dude, do not do the big baby gimmick on Christmas, man. Come on, man. We're giving you your props for being an elite basketball player. Do not pull the big baby shit. They didn't win against us.
This is a Jordan Bubb posted this. This is a quote from Victor Wembanyama. They didn't win against us because they played better basketball. Not at all. Victor Wembanyama losing to the Knicks on Christmas. Cool, man. Congrats.
I hate when folks do this big baby shit. It's like, dog,
you know what? You can. Hey, it's Christmas. I appreciate your moral victory, man. I see you. And I'm appreciative of that.
Get a rebound. That's part of playing better basketball. You couldn't do that on the last possession.
Get in the weight room.
18 rebounds, and you couldn't get one that mattered. Shame.
18 rebounds, and you're still fucking French.
18 rebounds, and you couldn't even grab the one that mattered the most. 7'5", and Josh Hart and Mikal Bridges are out hustling you, man. I don't know, man. Maybe we did play better basketball.
I think we actually did play better, but whatever. Yeah. It doesn't matter. If we lost, I wouldn't be like, we played better.
Like, you don't get to do that.
If we lost, my glass would be a lot more full.
I would definitely have pulled out my little wine bottle too. Apparently Jeremy Sohan was wearing black Air Force Ones to warm up before today's game. Interesting choice.
Not the Grinch Air Force Ones. Interesting.
Nope.
Look.
No Grinch footwear for him before the game.
Would you say was your favorite Victor Wembanyama highlight of this game?
Let's go to Ryan Ruocco and Corey Alexander.
Dude, the one where they were like Hart fouled him in the backcourt, and they were like, "Oh well, they wouldn't call that, but if he falls, you have to call it." I was just like, "All right, man, just enough." Like, we get it. All right, we get it. Wemby's great, and you guys are gonna glaze him. I still don't understand that goaltend they overturned. Not even because like it might not have been a goaltend. I thought it was a really close play, but you got to go with what you ruled on the court to me on that one. That was like, I don't know. It didn't seem obvious at all. It did not seem obvious at all.
They're ridiculous. I mean, I get they're trying to like push this like, Wemby's the future thing, but like you can ease up a little bit. HP Start says that Josh got 5 offensive rebounds, and I'm pretty sure 3 of them were on that last Knicks possession. I'm always confused about like who gets credit for rebounds on those tips, because as a gambler, it is very dicey when they do give out rebounds on those last couple possessions.
It depends. It depends on the whoever's doing the box scoring, because I've seen sometimes it'll be the guy who tips it out, but then I've also seen ones where it's like it's the guy who actually grabs possession. So I think it depends. I do think in general what they'll do is offensively. So it wouldn't surprise me if Mikal got credit for that offensive rebound that Hart got to close the game, like the final one. Because I think offensively they give you credit for tip outs more than
if your team gets possession.
Yeah,
definitely. I know that for sure. It's whoever the box score person bet on. That too. My theory for like, especially that Jaren Jackson Jr. Remember that theory? Not that theory, that actual thing that happened where they were like increasing his box score numbers at home and stuff like that. Someone definitely had the overs on his like blocks and steals for those games. Jordan Bub here, JLE the third, Thibs on OG. There's only one guy like him. I mean, what guy can you like put on your like elite wing and like also just like, and thankfully tonight the Spurs just don't have an elite wing, so like that didn't matter. So like they were just like, all right, let's just put him on Wemby, and that's what you can do. You can put him on a center if you need to, and he's able to come through. Knicks tape. Luca says we're seeing elite movement shooting from Mikal now, massive for furthering his involvement in the offense, in my opinion. I love just seeing him come up when they're like having like a fast break and he like they throw it to like he's trailing and someone passes it to him and he's like very confident enough now to just hit the pull-up three. Because like, something that we all kind of missed from Dante's aspect of shooting was just his willingness to hit those pull-up threes and stuff and just take them. So good to see if Mikal's more willing to do that now.
Absolutely.
Jalen Brunson also breaks into the Knicks top 35 all-time leading scorers, passing Bob McAdoo at 4,560 points.
Let's just when does he pass Melo?
Are you gonna throw a party that day?
We're throwing a party on here, live stream. We got another super chat here. Thank you.
Shout out to Kid Kuro, $30 super chat.
Yeah. A most joyous and blessed Christmas Kwanzaa to us all. To all. Wasn't able to go to the game because of work, but I did get a chance to snag a Town City edition of MSG, and the vibes were immaculate. Great win. Wemby flops are gross. Absolutely great. Look. I get why he does. I would probably. I mean, if you're getting rewarded for it, you're going to do it, right? And it's what it is. I do think some of the flops that he like. I don't think all of them are just flops. Like he is weaker than some guys, so some of it at times is definitely like natural. But like the one that they called on Hart in the backcourt with the fucking announcer was gushing over the fact that Wemby fell, was like, that's a flop, dude. Like Josh Hart didn't knock his ass over like that.
Josh Hart is strong, but like,
come on. Come on.
Let's relax there. Can Elon stop like pushing the fucking premium shit at me? Like I don't care if it's 2 cents. I will not pay for that shit, man.
Yeah. I'm laughing at this. It's Bouchard. Also forgot to put the precious rebound off the Josh free throw miss. Another loser play boxed out by Wemby. Not a winner.
Hey man, he grabbed 18 rebounds, but he didn't grab the ones that mattered. So he can't say that they play better basketball than us. Just can't.
Can't do it.
Let's see here. Ace Bouchard says I didn't care about Mikal's shooting, but the defense was so strangely awful to begin the season. He was like always 10 feet away from the guy he was guarding. Yeah, he's much more physical on like and he's doing the thing that our very own Prez pointed out in that video breakdown that he did of Mikal, where he's like keeping his arm attached even on like screens and stuff, and like that's helping him get better contest on defenders and stuff like that, and be just better attached and stuff like that. So that's been encouraging to see, and
yeah,
just hoping this is the norm for the rest of the season at this point. Let's see what else we got here. Jordan Bub says here, the offensive rebounding was huge. Josh Hart as the Knicks won on Christmas. 5 offensive rebounds, game high, 12 total rebounds, 12.6 assists, 2 steals. Josh Hart gets soul-crushing rebounds. Yep. Like he said, he gets the rebounds that crush teams. And Minnesota's like actually like playing well. Okay.
5 offensive rebounds is crazy. Yeah, I mean, this is what I'm saying. Like when I'm watching the game, if you asked me what Josh Hart's line was after the game, I'd have been like 12 points sounds right, but I would have been like I don't know, 7 rebounds, like I 6.
And he had 7 rebounds going into the fourth quarter.
He just I'm telling you, this guy is even like the fucking 3 he hits in the fourth quarter. I think it was at 102.97. He hits a 3 to make it a 3-point game, and I'm like, they leave him wide open, but that's the 3 that you're like, I don't know. There's a difference to me the way he's taking that shot now versus in the past when you take that shot, where it was like you could tell like he didn't want to take that shot at all, and now it feels like he understands I'm going to be left wide open sometimes, and I've just got to be confident, raise up, and take the shot. Obviously, he's hitting at a high clip this year, so it always helps the optics when you're hitting at a high clip. But like, I don't know, he's just playing with a different confidence to me offensively. Like where last year, at any other than random fourth quarters against the Sixers in the playoffs, it never felt like he even felt comfortable taking those threes, And this year it feels like he just understands I got to take some of these threes and is fine taking them. Yeah, look, I thought his fourth quarter was tremendous. They don't win this game without Josh Hart.
They don't win a lot of games without Josh Hart.
Yeah.
And once again, credit to him and his work ethic and just him as a basketball player.
It's why I just don't understand these endless conversations. Like, I'm like, how? Like, are you just? I just find the conversations about like starting and rotation. I'm like, I just think it's so boring. Where I'm like the rotation stuff I can at least understand, and more than that, like I definitely there are combinations that I'd like to see more of, and that's fine. I'm all for talking about that, and I think that's like 100% worthwhile conversation, discourse, whatever. But just talking about like the starting lineup and this, I'm like, I don't care, man. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I think Josh Hart is a good basketball player. I think we have about 8 NBA rotation players in the team. And when you've got like 8, and maybe Shamet can be 9, I don't know. But like,
I see how he looks, but yeah.
There's not really a lot to discuss at that point. Like, there's just not like that's a rotation. Just be happy.
And that's what you need to get to the finals.
Yeah.
About 8.5 guys. Let's see. Ace Bouchard says here, he says he's decided that he wants Julius and Dante to punk Grimes, and therefore he must root for Ant and the Wolves to prove the Mavs are pretenders. Well, Minnesota's actually doing pretty good to start this game. They're up like by 9, so you may get your Christmas wish.
It will make their fourth quarter inevitable
demise.
Fourth quarter collapse even more hilarious. I don't know. I just every time I see that starting lineup they put out there, I'm just like, okay, all right, like good luck with that one, man.
Keep trying. It'll work eventually.
Well, the game they had against was the Warriors last week. That was after we beat them, right? They played the Warriors, and they were like they'd come back in that game. They started off really poorly. They were down 34-15, I think, at the end of the first quarter.
Mm-hmm.
And then, they come back. They battle back in the second and third. They take the lead in the fourth quarter. They're up, I think, like 5 or something
Julius
like that.
had some hilarious brain
Yeah,
farts
and then they sub out Nasri, put in Julius, and they closed their starting lineup. And it was just it was a disaster. And like, look, I think Julius deservedly has gotten a lot of criticism for it, but
it's hiding how bad
Yeah.
Ant has been as well.
Yeah, I could use some reminders of Ant Jordan at some point.
Anthony Michael Jordan.
Yeah, he's Jordan's son. Haha. I'm like, all right, man. All right.
JK says those non-Brunson, non-Cat minutes in the fourth were huge. Love seeing that from a contender finding ways to win. Yeah, I mean, there was a stretch. It was just like Deuce, Hart, Bridges, OG, and Precious out there.
Well, the Deuce pull-up was fucking huge, man. So like
huge.
It was right after another Sohan bullshit 3, right? And Deuce hits that huge. He did not have a good shooting game. He missed a fucking point-blank layup. I still have no clue how he smoked that.
Should have dunked that.
And it was after he like had a really nice move off the bounce too. And I'm like,
and he blew past Wemby.
Yeah, I'm like, what the hell is this?
I guess he got scared. They thought like Wemby was gonna like block it or something, maybe.
Yeah, but yeah, that for him to hit that shot was huge. He was huge.
Oh shit, yeah, that was a huge 3. But yeah, I mean, that's what you love to see. Exactly, JK. You love seeing that from a contender. It's like your 2 best players were not on the court, and you still found a way to stay in the game, be in control, and eventually win it with Brunson coming back in. But yeah, I mean, also you're able to kind of do this thing with Cat where you can like bench him and like he won't be like bitchy and pouty about it as other players were here in the past. And that's what made benching certain guys, in certain situations much more complicated. But yeah, your thoughts on that, Schwinn? Just the type of character Cat is to just like, you can bench him and he won't be bitchy or pouty about it in the fourth quarter, as opposed to,
opposed to like Josh Hart. Yeah.
Other people that are not here no longer with us on this team.
Like Quentin Grimes. No, I think it's a lot of guys can say all they care about is winning. Like part of if all you really care about is winning, then part of that is being okay with being benched in games where you're not playing well or it's a bad matchup or whatever the case may be. And Cat has shown, I mean, he did this last year with Minnesota. He got benched several times on the stretch in games with Minnesota. And you have to accept that. And like, it can go both ways, right? And I've seen this too, where it's like, well, if you're paying a guy that much, like, then for him to not be out there every fucking time you close a game is an indictment. And sure, if you want to go that way with it, you can go that way with it. But to me, the point is to win games. And there will be games where they need Cat out on the floor. And I don't think it's much of an indictment because we've seen games where Cat's been fantastic down the stretch and helped them win games or key to them blowing out a team or whatever. So it's just about the specific game. And if he has the kind of humility and ability not to have his ego absorb him in ways where he can accept that, like, hey, if I need to sit out the fourth quarter of a game in December that we win, that's fine. And also the guy's played like 70 billion minutes. So I think he's probably okay if maybe he sits one or two times. He also came in on the final possession of the game.
Yeah.
So, and I just want to say it was a great adjustment from Tibbs because once you put OG on Wemby, then they tried to run these cross actions, but they were getting Precious on Wemby. And that's not like, I mean, it's a mismatch, sure, because Wemby's going to have a mismatch against basically anybody. Mm-hmm. But that's not really the one that you're trying to hunt. So this isn't effectively the strategy we saw him use against Embiid at times in that playoff series last year. So this is something we've seen him do before in certain matchups. And it's one that the Knicks have executed well. And it's one of those two guys, look, Precious and OG. Precious, most of his like non-CTE minutes line up when he plays with OG.
Yes.
So
they complement each other very well on the defensive side of the ball.
So I think like he trusts that. It's a good adjustment. It's a good, what was the Fizdale thing? I know I've got that on my back pocket. You say that all the time. Like that's a good thing for Tibbs to have in his back pocket and actually, play the card sometimes.
I wonder if Tibbs is ever going to bring an axe to practice. That's when he'll really solidify himself as one of the greats.
We're just chopping wood, guys.
Dog, what the fuck was Fizdale, dog? Oh my god, I still can't get over some of the shit that, like, I remember Alfred went on like a podcast and he was saying like he used to make them watch like MLK speeches and shit like that.
And he was like, "Bruh, just put on the fucking tape, bruh." He's like, "We don't need all that." The funniest, I think, the thing that always kills me was the two or the clipboard with together.
Oh my god!
And then us being down like 40 points
to the Bucks, and he's fucking has the biggest smile on earth.
He's clapping, smiling. I'm like, oh my god,
dog. He gave us some special material for when years were absolutely pathetic here. Oh man. John Larry says, how many times did Corey Alexander say this is a Christmas gift after every time a player made a shot? Felt super forced. LOL. A lot of today's ESPN verbiage was very forced.
Dude, Corey, who the fuck is Corey Alexander?
He's he's like their sixth string like announcer. He was joking during the broadcast that like one of the refs said to him, he was like, "Man, they must have a lot of games on today because they gave you this one." Because like he's not one of their regulars. He's like their like sixth string announcer.
Well, I looked up the announcement like assignments before the game, and I was like, Ryan Ruocco and Corey Alex. I'm like, didn't that? Oh yeah, I was like, I think that guy played in the NBA, but I don't remember him ever doing a fucking game before. I don't know, man. That's crazy that they had this guy do it. Like they really couldn't, but it's because they had that other fucking broadcast going on too, right? The Disney shit.
It was McNutt and somebody else though.
Did you watch that at all? Did you give it a look?
No, I just saw the clips on the computer on Twitter.
I might give it a look for like maybe the fucking Phoenix Denver game.
I think it was only for the Knicks game.
Oh, it was only for this?
Yeah.
Well, shout out to us for special privileges we get.
That's why fans were truly upset about us getting.
This is why the ratings are down.
Yeah, they're prioritizing Mickey Mouse and Goofy and Donald Duck.
Did you see the one? What was it, like a couple weeks ago when the Bengals were playing the Cowboys on Monday night, but they had the Nickelodeon. They wanted to flex the game, but they couldn't flex it because they had like all this graphic work done for it. So they were like they couldn't do it.
Oh, this shit is insane. The collaborations these networks are coming up with now. Anything to, I guess, get the kids involved at this point?
Yeah. This is Jordan Bub posted this. This is from Mikal Bridges. Mikal Bridges talks about putting on a show for the MSU Crown Christmas Day. The Christmas spirit, family, people coming to the game, bringing family members, people getting tickets for Christmas. Yeah, look, Mikal did. He had like 3 families at the game, right, in a suite or something. He gave them all like $1,000 Nike gift cards. I mean, he did a lot. He's, whatever. This doesn't make anybody better at basketball, but it is nice to like have a team where
see that he's for the people.
Well, yeah, it also just feels like most of these guys, whatever their flaws and whatever are, they all seem to be pretty good guys.
People.
They're easy to root for, so that's always nice.
And that makes it easier to root for them.
Yeah, I mean, it's also the same thing that we always loved about Randall.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely.
Your guy, Big 30.
Nope. I will never forgive him for the pain and suffering. I mean, he allowed us to make great content that year. 21-22 season. That was our like introductory season to doing this post game. Gave us some good content, but my God, it was brutal.
Oh.
I am glad he is someone else's burden at this point, though.
Not in my locker room.
Um, I think we can end things off here.
Yeah, we can. Let's finish with this one. Giannis LB80 asks us, what do you guys think about some of the Jalen's games this season against physicality? I mean, he's not getting a good whistle, but I don't think it's a physicality. I think he's having some weird processing games. Like today, I thought it was bizarre how he was approaching Sohan because he's. I think the best way I could probably frame this is it feels to me he's taking a lot more time this year when he struggles during his like bad games and moments or whatever, where he's trying to like size up his defender, and he's like, and he takes like 10 seconds to size him up.
He doesn't get into the actions as quickly.
Yeah, before he like makes a move or does anything. And to me, when he goes faster and he's more decisive and he's clear in his kind of like train of thought, is when he's at his best. I mean, that's kind of like why in that Pelicans game where it just felt like at one point he was like, "Yo, fuck this! Like, I'm just going. Like, this is everybody's playing like shit. I'm just gonna do
fuck
shit
Herb
right
Jones, fuck Trey Murphy. I'm just like pulling."
Yeah. So I don't have a strong feeling about the physicality, but I do think that
it's like a combination of like physicality and length because more teams are definitely putting more length on him than they have in the past, and that necessarily hasn't always been a problem. But I think the combination of both is definitely swaying his decision making, especially as he's like also trying to gauge like, all right, which teammate has it going, which teammate should I start feeding more, and like there are these games like the Pelicans game where like no one really specifically had it going as like a Mikal Bridges had it going tonight. It's like, it makes it more interesting for Jalen Brunson to figure out what to do because I feel like he's weighing all these decisions. Is he like, all right, do I start to cook? Do I like feed this person who has it going? Do I want to get someone going? So there's all these things that he's weighing. So
yeah, for sure.
All right, I think we'll end things off here. Shout out to everyone that tuned in. Make sure you guys leave a like and subscribe. Check out all the links in the description. We got links to the site, merch, Patreon, Twitter, and Instagram. We're also on Blue Sky. Follow us there as well.
Thank you for the super chats.
Thank you for the super chats as well. We hope everyone enjoys themselves and stays safe and merry during this holiday season. And the next Knicks game is against the Wizards, I believe.
Yes.
On the 27th. And then we play them again after. So I will be back for those. Most likely, I think. Yeah, I should be. But yeah, everyone enjoy the rest of your Christmas.
Let's go, teachers.
Yes. Peace.